Hello everybody, it's Juliet here. I am back with another earring for you today. So this is the earring that we're going to make. Originally I had actually filmed a video on Thursday which was for this larger version, which is the same, the top is the same except that I've basically embellished like I did down here, but due to a technical difficulty I lost that video, so we're gonna do this one today. And the thing I like about it, there's no glue, so this is all just beaded the way it sticks together. And so let's just get started with it. Now I'll go over the materials that you're going to need. So you're going to need some 15 O's, and those are for the back. So I've used black here. You could use a color that maybe matches these seed beads here, or a color that matches your crystal, or I don't know, whatever you want to do. I'm using black. So 15 O's, then you're going to need some 11 O's, and these are kind of metallic lilac color. I think these are Miyuki. Well, they are Miyuki because I buy these in bulk, and I know. So I think it's called metallic lilac, but that's 11 O's. Then you're going to need 4 bicones, crystal bicones. So I'm using amethyst here. And then you're going to need some SuperDuos. I've just got a selection here because I need to check the holes and make sure that they're not blocked up. Sometimes with coated SuperDuos they do get blocked, so you always need to check your holes. Then I'm using a 6mm earring, flat back. Mine are sterling silver, but you can use whatever. And then here I've got like a glass drop that I basically put one of my 11 O's on a head pin and then added the drop, and then I just did a wrap loop at the top. I'm not going to show you how to do that. If you don't know how to do that, I'm sure there are a lot of videos that can teach you how to do that. So now on this one that I did, I actually added it on afterwards, but there's hardly any room here. It was very difficult to hold on to. So this time I'm going to add it in as I am beading, and I think doing the wrap loop first is going to be a lot easier. And then we're going to be using some Fireline. I'm using the 6-pound in the smoke just because it matches with my beads. If you're using light colored beads, obviously you could use the crystal. And then you're also going to need a beading needle. Mine is a size 10. I like the size 10s. They're just a little easier. And some kind of scissors to cut your thread with. So I will just get the mat set up and then we'll get started. Okay, so I have threaded my needle with about somewhere around 25-28 inches of Fireline. You don't need that much, it's not a huge earring. You don't need to leave much of a tail at all, just enough to sew in a teeny bit at the end, so I'm only leaving like a 4-inch tail. So just hold your thread there, whichever hand. I'm right-handed, so I sew with my right hand, and I'm just going to hold this with my left hand. Obviously, if you're left-handed, you'll be sewing with your left hand and holding your work with your right. Okay, so first thing we need to do is check that we have some SuperDuos that are not blocked up. And for this project, you only need 4. For the other earring, that one's blocked. See, I can't get down in that one, so I don't want to use that one because that'll cause me some issues. And I'm just going to pick a couple extras because the kind of annoying thing about the coated SuperDuos that I found is they look great on the side, right, where the holes are. They look fantastic. Look how pretty and colorful. But the top is usually, which is actually the side that you see, isn't always beautiful. Now that's okay because this is kind of going for like a little rustic look, you know, kind of old, slightly aged look. But yeah, it's kind of annoying. Like the pretty side is the side where the holes are that you're not even going to see. So just annoys me. Anyway, okay. So we're going to pick up 4 of our SuperDuos, and I am going to attempt to pick up sides that I like. So yeah, that's a good one. Like that one. And nope. Yeah, I think this one's going to be the best. Okay, so I've got my 4 SuperDuos, and this is actually the side that I'm going to be looking at. So I think that's okay. I mean, there's a little bit of ugliness there, but anyway. So push it down to where your hand is, and then we're going to sew through all 4 again, the same hole. Okay, so we've got like a loop going over. Now, usually I don't tie knots, but in this project, we don't need to ever go in these holes again, so I'm going to tie a knot right now. So just do your standard square knot where you go right over left, left over right. Okay, and then we are done. Okay, now I've got to figure out which side was the up. I think this side's good. Okay, so now I am going to just sew into the hole next to where my knot was, just to get away from the knot, and then I'm going to sew into the outer hole so that I am now on the outer level. And there will be a thread just sitting there alongside your bead, but nobody's going to see that because it's going to be inside your earring, basically. So you don't need to fret about that. Okay, so then we're going to pick up one of our crystals, and you're going to go into the next hole in the direction that you're moving. Okay, so I'll turn that over. It's going to be easier to hold it. Then we're going to pick up 3 of our little metallic seed beads. Okay, so 3, and then you're going to go into, so I'm coming out that side, I'm going into the same hole again on the SuperDuo. Okay, so that's just going to make a little peak like that. And then we're just going to repeat this all the way around. So the next hole, 3 seed beads, 3 again, and into the next SuperDuo. Again, crystal. Oops, not watching what I'm doing. I was looking to make sure that I was on the screen. Pay attention, Juliet. Okay, and 3 seed beads. And then 1 more crystal. And into the last SuperDuo. And I'm just holding that other tail to the back, so don't worry about it for right now. Okay, sorry about that. I made a slight error, so I've just had to stop and come back. So here, after we've gone through our last crystal and last SuperDuo, this is our last bit where we need to add our seed beads. We're going to pick up our 3 seed beads, and we're also going to pick up our drop, which is the step that I forgot to do just a second ago. So once you've grabbed your drop, then you can proceed through the same SuperDuo again, and just make sure that you pull the seed beads nice and tight. There should be no extra thread there, so try and get it as tight as you can. Okay, so now we need to reinforce. So we're going to go up through the crystal. And again, just make sure that you're keeping this bit nice and tight. Really pull it. Okay, I know there's a big weight dangling on it, but try and keep it as tight as you can. In fact, I'm going to try and hold the crystal so it's not pulling the weight down. Okay, so now we're going to go through the first seed bead here after the crystal. And then we're going to skip the point and we're going to go into the third seed bead and then through the next crystal. Sorry, that's my tail that is just getting in the way. Okay. All right, so then I'm going to go into the first seed bead, skip the second, and go into the third and the next crystal. Then again, I'm going to go into the first seed bead, and the third seed bead and the next crystal, and pull. And then I'm going to do it here as well where the drop is. I'm going to go into the first seed bead. I'm going to just pass through this loop, not the seed bead underneath it. And then into that third seed bead and through the crystal. And pull. Okay, now this still has a lot of weight, so I want to reinforce. I'm going to go around one more time, and this time I'm going to go through every single seed bead. So I'm going to go through these two. Okay, I can only get through one right now. It's at a funny angle, and I'm pulling. Okay, and then I'm going to go through top one, through the side, through the, so this is just added reinforcement. I always reinforce my work, or if I'm, coming up with a pattern, I make sure that I sew through everything at least twice, preferably 3 times, sometimes even more than that. Because if you're going to take all the time to bead and make something beaded, what you don't want is for it to fall apart. And I also sell my work, so I really don't want to let my customers down. So I always make sure that everything is very held together. Okay, so I've gone through those 3 seed beads. I'm going to now pass through the remaining crystal, and then I am going to go into the SuperDuo right here. Okay, so I'm coming out from the SuperDuo. I'm going to actually flip over my work, and I'm actually coming out on the front, so I'm just going to poke my needle through that gap so that I'm coming out on the back of the work. And now we need to add on the stud earring. So the first thing we need to do is get this tail out of the way. So I'm just going to unthread my working thread and thread my needle onto my tail. Okay, so if you recall, we've already tied a knot at the beginning. So I just need to kind of get this thread away from where the knot is. So I'm going to go into the SuperDuo in the central hole here. And then I'll just go into the SuperDuo here. And maybe I'll go up here into this hole. And maybe I'll go through the crystal here. And that should be good. I'm going to cut that thread off there. So I'm far enough away from the knot and I've switched directions. So that should not cause a problem. Okay, so I just cut that tail off and get it out of the way. All right, so I'm going to rethread my working thread now. Okay, and so here I am coming out of the SuperDuo right here on this top hole, top outer hole here. So we're going to begin to do the part that attaches onto the back. So what we're going to do is pick up 7 of our 15 O's. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So that's 7. Okay. And we're going to go into the next SuperDuo. And just make sure that that's sitting above your work and not below your work. It would be very strange if it was sitting below your work. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Again, and into the next SuperDuo. And on these SuperDuos, I'm going into the outer hole, the outside hole, not the inside hole. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually, that's 6 and 7. Yeah, 7. And again into this SuperDuo here. And one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And into that SuperDuo as well. Okay. So now I like to reinforce these. So we're going to pass through the crystal that's underneath those 7. So I'm going through the crystal. And then I'm going to pass back through the 7 going this direction. So we're switching and going kind of backwards right here. Now, if you are working with light colored crystals, you might not want to do this in this way because it's going to add even more thread into your crystals. Okay, so once I've gone down here, I'm going to go through the crystal again. See what I mean? You're going to add a lot of thread into your crystal and it's going to not really look very nice if it's a light colored crystal. So what you might want to do is just go around again going through the SuperDuos, but basically we need to stitch through all these again to make them more rigid. Then you pass through the SuperDuo and go through the next crystal. Hang on. I need to get into position here. Can't find that. There we go. Can't find the hole. There we are. Okay, so again, I'm going through the crystal first, and then I work backwards through, and then I go through the crystal and through the next SuperDuo. And I just missed the very bottom bead there, so I have to back up. This is why I don't like working with black beads. They are very, very difficult to see. And you will also see on my fingers, I should have wiped my thread first because I'm going black again. Somebody told me a very good hack for that, which is if you have an old dryer sheet, to run it through, just pull the thread through the dryer sheet and it'll take off a lot of that excess black that comes off on your fingers when you're using the smoke colored Fireline. So there is a hack for you. Okay, now I'm going through the SuperDuo, then I have to go through the crystal as well to get over to back up through the black beads. Okay, so we're going to go through the black beads, and I know all of this reinforcing stuff is so boring, but it is part of doing it properly. Okay, so again, we're going to move forward through the crystal now. Whoops, came out one of the seed beads there. And make sure your thread doesn't get looped through the last SuperDuo. So this will be our 4th loop once we get there. Through the crystal. Make sure you're counting how far you go so you're not endlessly going in circles. There we go. Okay. So then one more time up through, come on, up through those 7 beads. And this is just to make this stronger and more solid. I found if you don't do this, you don't get such a good result. Okay, and one more time through that crystal. Okay. And then through the SuperDuo. Okay, so now we are going to go up these black beads here, so going in the direction that you're working, up the first 4 only. So that's 3, and that is number 4. So the 4th bead is basically the middle point bead, but do be sure that you count because sometimes they do trick you. Okay, we're going to pick up 3 of our 15 O's, and we're going to go into the 1, 2, 3, 4th bead only on the next peak. Okay, and pull that nice and tight. So we're kind of making like a little basket here. So again, pick up 3 15 O's and count 1, 2, 3, 4. So that is my 4th bead. Just push those points together. You might need to kind of pull them upwards to get them to stand up a little bit. Okay, and one more time, 3 15 O's, and 1, 2, 3, 4, the 4th bead. Pull, 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 pull. And last time, 3 15 O's. And then here I can see, because these 3 beads are coming out of this bead, so I know that it's this one right here that I have to go into. Obviously the side that the thread isn't coming out of is the side you need to go into. Okay, So that is my fourth little bridge, if you will. So I hope you can see that's kind of made a little bridge of like 3 in between each peak that we made. Yeah, can you see that on the video? All right, so now we're going to pull that nice and tight, and then we're going to go through the first 2 beads on the next bridge. So going in the same direction, I'm going in the first 2 beads from where my thread's coming out. So I'm basically coming out of the second of those 3 beads, and I am going to pick up 1 bead. And before I do that, I am going to actually put my earring back in the middle. Okay, so this is not tight, this is just sitting in there. So I'm picking up 1 bead, and then coming out this second bead, I'm going to look at this group of 3, and I'm going to go into the second bead of this group of 3, and I'm going to pull. Okay, then I'm going to pick up 1 more 15-0, and then I'm going to look at the next group of 3, and I'm going to go into the second bead, and I'm going to pull again, 1 15-0. Look at this set of 3 here, and go into that second bead and pull. And last time, 1 15-0. So this set of 3 is right here. There is my first bead that I just added of my 1. So I'm going to go into the second bead right here, and I am going to pull. And you can see that that has kind of tightened up around and made a pretty kind of cross design around the post. Now what I'm going to do is just go through those 4 beads that I just added. So go into the next bead, which is the first of those 4 individual beads. So right now I was coming out of the second bead of that bridge of 3, so I needed to move forward 1 bead. Then I'm going to skip over to this bead here. So that's the bridge of 3. I'm skipping to the next individual bead, and I'm going through it, and I'm pulling. And this will really tighten it up. So if you're confused about which beads you're supposed to be going into, it's basically if you see there's like a triangle here, it's this bead that's in the middle. That's the one that you're going through. So it should be the one directly next to a crystal. Okay, and what I'll do is I will go around those 4 beads, just those 4, maybe 3 times, so that they are really solid and tight around the post. Okay. I can't even get into this bead now. That's how solid and tight it is. Okay. All right, so that is good. And this will not move. Like, it is holding that earring on. It's not going anywhere. Like, the earring can swivel, but it's not moving like forward or back, or it's not going to come off. It's on there. Okay, so once I feel that that is on nice and tight, I can then tie off my thread. So to do that, I'm going to move away from this middle section. So just follow the thread path. And what I like to do is I like to go down here, go down here to the end of a line of black beads next to a SuperDuo. Okay, So I'm next to a SuperDuo. And then I like to pass my needle under some of the threads there. So I'm not going through a bead, I'm just going under the threads that are running between the crystal and the SuperDuo. And then I'm going to just make a little loop. And then I'm going to put my needle through this loop. And I'm going to twist it around one more time. So I'm going through it twice. And then I'm very gently and slowly pulling until that makes a really tight little knot down in there. And you can't even see it. Like, I don't know, somewhere down in there, okay? So then I will move through the SuperDuo. If I can get through, the angle of the beads now makes it a little tricky here. So just be patient. Don't force anything. You don't want to break your needle, just try different angles. There we go. Okay, so I got through the SuperDuo. And then I'll go up these black beads here. So just to save time, what I'll do is I'll go up here, I'll go down here, and I'll tie another knot here. And then I will go through this SuperDuo, come up here, and then I will cut my thread, and that will be the end of that. So I will do that off camera, and then I'll come back at the end. Okay, so I have now completed my earring. I cut my thread off, and I have a matching pair, and I love the way these came out. They're probably a little bit more fiddly than I would have liked at the top, but que sera. The cool thing about this is, excuse me, I just totally bumped you. You could just make this top section and without the dangle if you wanted to, just have the little top, or you could make the top to go with something else. So yeah, I had made these, which are this is this bit, and you'll see that having this extra embellishment covers up the little bits here. Now on these, I did not like the look of having the embellishment because I liked the straight up and down with the added embellishment at the bottom. I may or may not try and do this video again. I was very depressed after I lost it because it took me an entire day. So let me know if you want me to do this video or not. And I'll show you another color I did. I've only done one of these so far, but this is the blue version of that. But I'm actually kind of loving the simpler drop version. I think it's very cute. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this, and also I am planning to do some more videos. I have 2 more projects that I want to share with you, and also I got a lot of requests for the strawberry that I did around the same time that I did the pineapple, which is like my biggest video on YouTube. And I know a lot of people wanted me to do the strawberry tutorial, so I think I'm gonna give in and I'm gonna actually do that for you guys very soon. So if you want to see that, do subscribe. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you have enjoyed this stud earring, and I hope that you can make something beautiful with it. I would love it if you would share with me your makes. If you make something from my videos, I love seeing you guys, what you come up with. Some very creative people out there. So you can tag me on Instagram at Jules and Rose, or I have a Facebook page that's just called Jules and Rose. So do follow me, or leave me a message, or show me a picture. Let me know what you're up to, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye for now.